everyone, you are watching ITV Gold and I'm your host Aditi Lamba here at the Empire State with cameraman Raja Bhati, and today we bring to you all the way from the UK, British, UK fusion Asian performing artist Arjun. He's a name who has seen 750 million views on YouTube, a person who's truly celebrated by people here in India, in Sri Lanka, in New York and everywhere else, and we're so excited to have you here. It's such a pleasure to have you on the show, Arjun. How are you feeling today? We are celebrating Diwali with FIA here at the Empire State Building. How are you feeling? I want to get your insights. I want to get some sentiments here.
Well, thank you. First of all, amazing intro. I should hire you as my hype person, I think, for my shows. But anyway, so I mean, my fourth time in New York for Diwali. Had the honor of doing the Diwali in Times Square show a few times. I was here for the India Day Parade as well with you guys with FIA a long time ago. But I mean, this is like my second home, so it's nice to be. I'm sadly not going to see my family for Diwali, but it's as good to be here. So I think, I mean, this is a very, I mean, to be here in one of the most iconic buildings in the world, to kind of have the honor of being here, to have this honor is amazing. So
you are one of the UK's most known urban Desi artists, and also somebody who's really truly formed himself in the Bollywood industry and many other industries. I want to know how you have felt about the love given to UK British artists, especially to the Indians that we have seen, the South Asians we've seen here, and this industry they've seen grown. What is your take on it, and how do you feel today that a place like Empire State is now home to British artists, especially South Asian performing? This is like the third year we've had somebody from the UK here. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously having been brought up in the West, in UK, in London, but my parents are from Sri Lanka and India. So I mean, having that kind of fusion inside me, I have this kind of desire to create music that has a fusion of both worlds. So it has Hindi, Punjabi, Tamil, South Indian, whatever, mixed with English R&B pop music. So kind of that kind of fusion sound, I feel, has grown a lot. I mean, the genre has become kind of a distinctive urban Desi genre. It's kind of like, it's not quite Bollywood, it's not quite mainstream UK music, but it has that kind of fusion. I think that is the key for us to kind of cross over more into a more Western audience. I think using our culture to not kind of shy away from be proud of who we are, but also to incorporate that West element, having been brought up in the West, is important to me. And there's a whole bunch of artists that kind of have built this genre and this sound. Yeah. And I think New York is a hub. I think being a very Desi but also very Western city has been a hub for shows and for culture as well. But yeah, I feel like, I mean, there's been a massive progression. Obviously, I think before we had Bollywood. Bollywood was a massive thing, and still is a massive thing. But I feel like this new genre has a chance of doing a bit like what the Hispanic movement has done, the African, the K-pop. I think there's a chance of us taking our sound into the mainstream American and UK industries and kind of having our own kind of cultural movement.
You're truly looked at somebody who is a pioneer in this field. There are so many urban artists now here in the US, in Canada, in the UK. Artists like Prophecy, Mickey Singh, all of them, you've collaborated with them, even Rockstar. And then when you're looking at Bollywood, you've collaborated with T-Series. I feel like you're one of T-Series' favorite. And at the same time, you've featured in huge movies. Talk to me about having these different outlets. You've literally done it all, Arjun. What sort of keeps you going?
I think for me, I mean, having the chance to dabble in multiple worlds has been fun for me. I'm actually a producer and a songwriter as well, so being able to work in Bollywood in India, it's crazy, but it's so fun. Like being in Bombay and working with the likes of the Vishal Shekhars and the Meet Brothers and all these guys, and and working with Arjun Singhs and all these big Bollywood singers has been amazing. Equally, being part of the whole Western, I've signed to Island Records in the UK, and being part of the Western sound over there has been great. So I think for me, it's fun to dabble in different worlds. I love all music. I mean, as a producer, I love R&B, I love Bollywood, I love Bhangra, I love hip hop, I love So having a chance to dabble has been great for me, and I think that is what has made me kind of have a bit of longevity in my career, I guess.
Arjun, I have to ask you, seeing a career in which you've done everything from collaborations to, performing on the biggest stages, to working with, representing different governments, and also coming here all the way. Talk to me a little bit about the most humbling aspect of this journey for you. And if I was to ask you, where was a time that you just stood for a second and realized, wow, I've given my entire life to music from when I was a child, since the age of 13 and 14, and I have done this. So talk to me about that moment.
Yeah, well, so I mean, there's been a few. I mean, I think for me the best thing is the fact that I'm able to do what I love as a career. My passion is music, and to be able to travel the world, to perform every continent, for the last maybe 9 or 10 years. It's been a blessing. I never dreamt that I would, my songs would take me around the world. But it's been some of the most amazing moments have been in New York, actually. Diwali in Times Square was pretty amazing. I think one of the biggest shows I've done was probably Times Square is, for Diwali twice. We did it twice. Obviously the parade. I was in a float on the parade for the FIA India Day Parade, 2014. That's pretty amazing. Obviously today is an amazing moment for me as well. Being able to turn on the lights of the Empire State Building. Quite a humbling moment for sure. I think there's been quite a few. I mean, for me from the UK. There's been a couple of shows. I mean, this year actually, I took a break from music for a few months. I had some personal stuff happen to me, so coming back into my career this year, I headlined the biggest kind of UK show we have, which is the Mela in London, the London Mela. So that was a big moment for me. So there's quite a few. There's lots of standout shows. There's been some amazing shows in India, in Africa, in Australia, and Dubai. I mean, I had the chance to sing alongside some of my heroes like Jay Sean, Arijit Singh, Neha Kakkar, the Badshah, you name it, some of the artists, and from my own scene, Mickey Sings, all these guys. So, there's been a lot of amazing shows. I can't really pinpoint one particular moment. Probably the one moment that I knew I could make it in music was Why This Color Very Deep. So I did a remix on YouTube of...
It put you out there.
It did. So before that I was singing mainly kind of English R&B music, and that was the first time I did a remix of an Indian song. And that formula really worked for me, and that kind of started growing my YouTube audience, and that song went very viral. On the back of that, I launched my whole career. So that one song, I remember that one song came out, and I would travel the world and sing one song. I go to like New Zealand and sing Why This Color Very, and fly back. So I think that was a moment for me.
I have to also ask you in the moments, I was reading up on some of your interviews, and you talked about how, your mom always has supported your career. Yes. She's been your manager. She's, all there in, spirit and full form. With your dad, of course, having an unconventional career was tough. And there was a particular moment where your dad felt really proud when you, did the anthem.
Song, yes.
Yes, the welcome song. Talk to me about it. Cricket is such a religion. You're half Sri Lankan, half Indian. You're fully British. That one thing must have been such a huge moment for you as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big sports fan. So I mean, my dad especially was and still is a big fan of cricket, as we all are, all Asian people are. So I think that the moment he saw his son, doing the theme song for a massive global tournament, and he was singing me on the TV, in the advert breaks, and then in the stadium the songs were playing. So I think that was a big moment for him. I think his friends were I think at that point he kind of came into his world, obviously world of sports and whatever else. So he's very supportive. I mean, it's very hard for any parent to accept this kind of crazy career for that child. It's very risky. I mean, if I had a kid, I would probably warn them that it's not an easy it's not an easy ride. A lot of ups and downs. I think but he's come around to it fully. He's now fully supportive of me. Watches all my videos on YouTube and checks my views and that kind of stuff. So I think as a parent, any parent, South Asian or not South Asian, it's a risky thing to go into. So I don't blame him for being a bit skeptical initially.
I love asking this to artists and singers and popular personalities. What do you say to those parents, especially that are watching us on ITV Gold, who have such a huge South Asian population? What would you tell them in terms of, the children, if they really want to pursue, the fields of performance arts, especially with music? Industry is flourishing here. There's so much scope now, even with individuals such as you have really opened up those spaces. What do you say to those parents at that point?
I think I think education is important. If I was a parent, I would say get some form of education, whether it's high school or university, whatever college. You guys call it college here.
College, of course.
I would recommend. I would not tell my child not to get an education. I think it's important to have a fallback plan. I finished my degree as well, but if you've got a passion for something, I believe firmly that if your child has a passion for something, you should encourage it. You should nurture it, and if they prove that they have what it takes, let them go for it. And I think the way the world is now, you can change career many times. I think back in the day you kind of would stick to one profession and that was it. You probably would stick with one company, one thing for a long time. I have friends who are in their late 20s and the early 30s, and then they've changed career like 5-6 times. They've gone from finance into medicine, into law, into tech. So I think now that the world is a different place where you can afford to be you can take a risk for a bit. If it doesn't work out, you've tried it. I think otherwise, it's always inside you. If for example, if I never tried music, if I never had a chance to do music, let's say I was sitting in an office somewhere, I would be thinking every day, oh my God, I wish I had a chance to try it. And I'm glad that my parents were very open-minded. and allowed me to have that chance. So I think, if you're watching and your son or your daughter has a talent, whether it's fashion, singing, cooking, dancing, whatever it is, give them a chance and see how it goes.
Arjun, I want to take a little bit of time here for our viewers and dig a little bit more into your journey.
Yeah.
Performing and recording sort of go simultaneously for you, be it from you, creating so many singles, original tracks, working with Bollywood, and now that you have your own album out, to actually performing on the stage. Talk to me about, what goes on sort of in your head when you are sort of switching on and off between performing and recording, and what sort of really stimulates you as a musician and as an artist?
It can be challenging. I think that's one balance. It's quite hard to strike, between when you're traveling the world constantly and you're trying to record music. It's hard to kind of get to force being creative. You have to be in the right headspace to write. For me, at least, I have to be, normally I have to be in a certain mind state to write music. And sometimes when we're traveling a lot, it's very hard. It's happened to me when I've toured a lot. I've had a bit of a block mentally, but I have not been able to write music for a while. But I think the key is to allocate. So now, the way that we structure our year is we do let's say we do a 1 month tour of the US, 10 cities, come back, spend a month at home writing songs, and then a bit of structure helps. I think before we would just go all over the world, constantly traveling, I was on a plane the whole time, and I never had a chance to work on new songs. And I mean, what makes us artists is songs. Like touring is what comes from that, but the real true art form is to write and create songs. I mean, that's what our fans want to hear. So, I try to prioritize. With the album especially, I took 6 months off touring. I didn't do any shows for almost 6 months. Made the album and then I went on tour for 6 months. I think that is the game plan. I think moving forward is to have more structure to the timetable.
In terms of your music, Arjun, is so distinctive and it's so pure and authentic. I'm talking to an artist who mainly sings in English, and not only are you somebody who's just translating it, you put your own lyrics into a song. You have your own feature into a Bollywood song, into your own songs. Talk to me about how important was that for you to sort of remain authentic to the language and the use, but then also include Tamil, Punjabi, Bollywood. I mean, everything. You've sort of experimented with that, and even closer to home, the beats are amazing and they go in and out. There's such a variety. Talk to me about how important was that factor, and how do you sort of describe your style of music when you look at it now?
Wow. You've done some good research, I see. So for me, the key thing for me is fusion of any, whether it's English and Punjabi, English and Hindi, English and Tamil, English and whatever. I mean, so for me, I sing in English mainly. That's the core of what I do. Is I'm an English R&B singer, but I'm very proud of my culture and my obviously having some Tamil in me. All my friends are Punjabis, and so I have a lot of influences all around me that have come into my music. But I feel like at the core, it's always got that English vibe to it. But, dabbling in Bollywood and South Indian cinema, I really enjoyed it. Because, I mean, as a producer, I think I was saying to you earlier, I think as a producer, it's just fun to experiment with different genres. I love all kinds of different types of music. So just having the chance to try mixing, rock music with Tamil, or I don't know, house EDM with Punjabi, whatever it might be, it's a fun experiment as a producer. And I think what I began doing with T-Series was I would take an existing Bollywood song and I would write an English song to it and kind of fuse them together as a production experiment to see how it would work. And that's kind of a lot of my initial kind of success came from that fusion of taking existing Bollywood songs, which are already amazing songs, because you can't really beat those timeless melodies from India. Yes. And then writing my own English lyrics and composing my own arrangement, with the strings and piano, whatever it was, and taking my own arrangement and kind of translating that into my own sound and making it more kind of Western and more R&B. That was what kind of connected me to especially to North America, UK, Australia, kind of people who are a bit like me, who grew up in a Western country, who have links back to the homeland.
You listen to a song and you go, this is so wicked. How did he just do it? When we're looking at your experience in Bollywood, especially getting such massive success, having T-Series, were you surprised at the amount of openness they showed to actually adding straight English-speaking artists, to giving that respect to them, and also a song like Kabhi Jo Badal Barse, I'll Be Waiting, it hit chartbusters. There's so many songs, Suit, you just keep on going with it, and there's so many things that really hit core, and they really respected that. What has been your experience with the entire industry
in India, Bollywood? You know what? Actually, it's a blessing. I feel like coming from the West, they kind of give you a little bit of a. They like our vibe. It's something different, which they don't really get in India. So I've been lucky to have been approached by some massive names. I feel like they want that English flavor that I can bring them, and I kind of want that Eastern flavor that they can bring me. So it's kind of like a match made in heaven because the fusion works so well, you know. So Suit is a perfect example. So Guru brings that full Desi Punjabi, you know, folk kind of vocal, and I bring the kind of more R&B, pop, you know, English sound to it. And that I think I think the best thing that can happen in life is fusion, whether it's culturally, you know, between people, you know. I think that mixing of sounds and just kind of sharing cultures. I think that's where you create magic. I think that Suit is a good example of that. Similarly with I'll Be Waiting, you know, that taking Arjun's amazing vocals and writing a kind of very emotional song around it, you know, based on my own personal experiences. And yeah, I think Bollywood has accepted me. I'm very, very honored that they've kind of embraced me so easily. I'd like to spend more time. Actually, my plan is to spend like maybe a few months in India, and I never go for like a very long time. I'm there for like a few days, do a meeting, make a song, and then I leave. If I live there for a few months, I think it'll be easier to finish. I've started so many songs off to finish more music if I'm there, yeah, for sure.
So much production in there too.
So much.
You know, I really want to take a little bit more moment here, talk to you about Closer to Home. Amazing album. It's really, you know, you can see your heart in it, and diverse music, amazing concept. Even with Sony Array, with Tingle right now recently released, there's a lot of variety I'm seeing. But I just want to ask you, Closer to Home, I know it took you a while to write. Was it A, very emotional for you to write? And B, what did that album really mean to you? You were writing it, producing it, it's your first baby out there. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so you know, I had been an artist for a long time. I never released a body of work. I think the way that the world is moving is people love singles and hit songs. I think as an artist, it's great to have that chance to explore a different side of yourself and do songs that are not necessarily hit songs, not necessarily pop, you know, like hit singles, just more deeper songs about your own experiences and you know, your own life. And that I explored a lot of my own, you know, the sound of that album was very. It's like a kind of self-exploration. It was like, you know, a bit of kind of South Indian flavors to it, some kind of Punjabi vibes in there. There's a lot of R&B and a lot of trap and hip hop. And I think, you know, the aim of that album was to create a very eclectic, world-sounding album. And I was very honored to sign a deal with Arjun Records, which is you know, one of the biggest urban labels in the world. You know, people like Drake and The Weeknd signed to that same label. So it was an honor to have a label come out on a major label, the album come out on a major label in the UK. Sorry, in the UK. And yeah, I think, you know, I've been blessed to work with some of the biggest companies in the world. Whether it's T-Series, the biggest company in India, Universal, the biggest label in the West. So, you know, I've had the honor of working with some amazing companies. It's all been a learning curve. You know, some songs have worked really well, others haven't worked as well, but I think that's part of, you know, the journey in music. So.
Well, I really think it's all working well. You know, we are coming close to this interview. But my question to you right now is, we are in 2019. The year is wrapping up. There's so much to look forward to. What are the big aspirations now? You're YouTube's most viewed Indian urban artist, even now. You've been honored by, you know, so many entities in the US, in the UK, in India. So where is Arjun going now? Who are the artists that you're still connecting with? Who are your artists you really want to work with? We want to know, what can we look forward to?
So yeah, I mean, a whole bunch of collaborations still. There's, you know, I won't give too much away, but there's, you know, songs with artists I work with already, Mickey and Guru, people like that coming soon. Obviously, you know, my aim at the moment is to try and, I think, bring our urban Desi sound into the mainstream. You know, kind of create music that can cross over into a more Western audience, but using our culture and our sounds to make that happen. So whether it's like a Despacito type moment, you know, like Spanish, but I think personally songs like Suit, for example, with a Western touch could be a crossover song. So for me, it's pushing our music into the mainstream in the West and the East. So, you know, more Bollywood, more mainstream stuff in India, more mainstream stuff in the UK. And pushing this fusion genre with the likes of, you know, I think that there's a great energy in our scene at the moment. There's a lot of great artists making great music, and a lot of collaboration, a lot of healthy collaboration happening. Like we're all becoming friends and hanging out a lot more, and that will only create good music, I hope. So yeah. I
would love for you to give a message out to all your fans and all the following watching you on ITV Gold. Yeah.
For sure. Thank you so much to all you guys out there watching me, hearing my songs. Check it out, my new single Tingo, which is out right now, with Mickey Singh, and thank you to ITV for having me. Much love. We'll see you very soon. Thank you so much.
And that was none other than Arjun, everyone. Stay tuned on to ITV Gold as we bring you so much. Your voice, our voice. We are here in New York City. I'm Aditi Lamba, signing off with cameraman Rajabhati.